Hey everybody, welcome to Home with the Halsteads and welcome to my dining room. The past several weeks I have given you several good recipes on casseroles and salads and desserts, and I hope that you're going to try some of those for Easter. But now it's time to decorate, and so I have invited my very special friend Alice to come and show us how she decorates her home. She is one of the best. She is my Sunday school teacher and has been for over 30 years, and I love her. She does a wonderful job. Her background is in education. She's a wonderful teacher. She's so talented in so many areas, and she certainly is talented when it comes to decorating. So she's going to show us how she decorates her home, and she was gracious enough to come over and decorate my buffet for Easter, and I'm so excited. Alice, I'm just so thrilled to have you.
Well, thank you, Joyce. I'm glad to be here.
Well,
That was a lovely introduction. I hope I can live up to all that.
You certainly can. So let's get started. I'm going to let Alice show you some of her tricks and some of her talents.
Okay, I brought an arrangement to do for Joyce's buffet. It's the one that I leave in my buffet window all the time. And what I usually do is just have some plants in there. I like to use plants with adding some flowers and other types of foliage if I'm going to fluff it up a bit for an event. And so I just want to show you how I put it together and what I'm going to do to make it a fuller, more fluffed up arrangement. First of all, these are just peace lilies from a garden center, and you can go and select them. If you don't need to do that or don't want to do that, you could also fill all this background in with foliage. Some people like to start with their flowers and then add foliage, but I always like to start with my foliage as a background and then add my flowers, accent things to it. So these are just peace lilies. And when I came in a little while ago, I noticed that one of them had a little bad place on it. And so all I'm going to do is just clip that off. And if you'll notice, I've covered Joyce's dining room table with an older tablecloth and some newspaper so that if I make a mess, which I'm sure I will, it'll be easy to clean up. So here are your three plants. Now this is a trick that I do to help you do an easier arrangement. This came out of this pot, which looks like this, and I took the whole thing out and put it in a Ziploc bag. Now what I did, this Ziploc bag, like so many of them, had a red zipper across the top. So I just took my scissors and cut that off. And then I just put that in there. And one advantage to this is that you can take it and mold it so that when you get ready to put it in your container, it won't be stiff. Like if you try to use three of those pots, you can hardly fit them in there. So these two are already in the bag, and here's this one in the baggie, and I just fit it in like that and just sort of get that ready. Now after I finish, or as I'm finishing the arrangement, I can adjust all that. Now one thing also that I did was to make sure that these were pretty wet before I put them in the baggie, so that you've got them already watered for several days. And the second advantage to that is that you can poke some things down in there and use it like an oasis. So that's the basis for the arrangement. Then I'm going to show you how I'm going to add some other. Now I've got lots of foliage and things that I've cut out of the yard. Almost all of this came from my yard or a friend's yard, and I've been soaking it overnight, so that will help to set it for you. And then the other things, the potted plants, I just, like I said, picked up at a local garden center. So you can do as much of that or as little as you like. Now I'm going to show you how I do one in the baggie. This one is in its pot. So I just take the baggie, and like I said, it has a red zipper part, and you don't want that showing. So I just take the scissors and I just cut that off like this. I use clippers as well as just a pair of kitchen shears when I'm doing my arrangements, and those work well for me. So you just cut that off, open it up, and get it ready. And like I said, I've already soaked this, so I'm just going to lift it, gently lift it out of there. And it may have, this is pretty long, so I'm just going to take some of that dirt and take it off so it's not quite so tall. Just put it back in its container. Get my baggie and just drop it down in there like that. And then, like I said, you can kind of squish it around a little bit if you want to make it more easy to arrange in your arrangement. So I have this one. I have two more. Now, one of the principles of decorating that I read or learned about one time is that you want to do things in odd numbers. So I have 3. If you notice, I have 3 of the peace lilies, another lily, and I've got 3 of these. I've already put these in the bag. So I'm just going to take these and put them in the arrangement. Again, remember that you're not locked into that. You can arrange them any way you want to, and if once you kind of get the arrangement done, you don't like it, you can rearrange it. Also, you can water in these every few days. If they're starting to feel dry, you'll want to add some water to them. So I just take those and fit them in to the arrangement like that. Now, don't worry if things are showing, because at the end of the arrangement too, I'm going to show you how I take this moss and kind of hide that. So I'm going to play around with this a little bit. I've got some ivies that I'm going to use. These 2 are already in the baggie, and they're in just a little baggie. And you can take them, make sure you have enough dirt around the root, and you're going to start filling in the parts of your arrangement where you'd like the ivy to kind of spill over and look nice in the container. So again, like I said, just play around with it. Here's another one that I've already bagged up. And you can move them, they're real easy to move because you've got them in those plastic bags. That's a big trick. All right, here's one that we'll just add right here. Now, when you start to feel the shape of your arrangement, you can just do it any way you want to. Like I said, you can adjust it. You can pull your flowers down. Don't do it with a heavy hand, but just pull them to make it fit like you want it to. Now, all of this bucket over here of foliage are things that I've just cut out of the yard. Like I said, are a friend's yard. And this is leatherleaf fern. One tip I will tell you, when you cut your foliage or you cut your flowers, cut it as long as you can. That helps in 2 ways. One, it gives you the length that you might need to play with. You can always cut it shorter, but you can't add it back. And then it also makes where you cut it from in the yard, it makes it look better. So you can take your foliage if you want to. This leather leaf, as well as this one, which is absolutely my favorite yard foliage to use. It's called Podocarpus. Some people call it yew, Y-E-W. And these 2, if you soak them overnight, they will last in your arrangement several days without being in water. Now, I try to get them in the wet soil that I've used with my peace lilies. It's already wet, and I try to stick it down in there. But you can see where if you have some holes in your plants, you can add your foliage there, and it'll just start to fill in where you might have any open places. For example, this peace lily looks a little more open than the other one, and you can just stick it down in there and begin to build it. Now, I'm going to add some of these. All of this, like I said, these beautiful things came from a friend's yard, and I left the stem really long so that I could adjust it. And so I'm going to add this into the arrangement from this particular thing. I also found at the grocery store a few days ago this beautiful tulip, and I'm going to use some of those in the arrangement because I think those colors look really nice. And I was just saying, when I put it in Joyce's dining room, it looks wonderful with the painting she has in here.
It does.
So you want to pick colors that suit your house, and you can find all kinds of things this time of year. So I'm going to take about 5 or 10 minutes to finish up this arrangement using the material I have, and then I'll show you the finished product.
Okay, Alice said that she was going to work to put this arrangement together, and she is doing just that, but I wanted you to see it up close, so I'm filming as she is putting it together, and I'm just going to come in real closely so that you can see so far. Look at that beautiful container that she has there.
That container too, like I said, I've had it for years, and I just keep it on my dining room buffet window. And what it is, it's open. It's this part is open, and I just have 2 cut off gallon milk jugs that are down in the bottom of it, and then I just fill in around them with this moss. And I'm going to tell you the tip about the moss in a little bit. So I just keep that so that I can water the plants and they don't spill all over the buffet. Now this is sago palm, Joyce, that it, to me, I like to use it in my Easter arrangements because it represents Palm Sunday and Easter to me, and it's very prevalent in our yards around here, and you can easily find some of it. It's a little sticky to work with, sharp, so be careful. And what I do is at the bottom, again, I just take my trusty shears and I just cut the bottom off so that it's not so bulky to get in your arrangement. And I just come up and just start filling in. Like I said, that is going in some of that wet soil that's in the baggie so that you can keep it from drying out. Now those are 3 of the sago palms. If we wanted to, and we'll try and see how it looks, we can add 2 more on the side to make 5 instead of that many. It depends on if you want your arrangement to be wider, you can do that with the sago palm. Let me see how that might look.
Okay.
Because I have 2 more.
Right.
And again, if you run into just some uglier looking places on your foliage, you just cut it off. It wouldn't hurt. There's a little spot, I really don't think that'll show, but if it were to, or if you had dead things over here, you could just snip them off. And I'm going to make this come out a little, and that's too big, so I'm going to cut it some more. And cut this piece off. And again, I'm looking for my baggie and the soil, and then I'm going to sort of let that do like that and bring this down a little bit on the sides. And remember, because you've got your pots in those Ziploc bags, you can just lay them around any way you want to.
Wow,
And
I
just
think I
move-
could do that.
and just move them, and they're in the wet soil and in the baggie, and you can always add water to that. So just start to work and step back every once in a while to see if they're, the colors and things are going where you want them to. Now I see we kind of got a hole right here, so I'm going to add something. First though, I'm going to add my 5th piece of sago palm from the other side. I always try to do an uneven number of things. 3, 5, 7, that kind of thing. I just think it looks more balanced that way. Now, like I said, if things are showing underneath here, don't worry about it because we're going to cover it up with some moss at the end. And again, you can pull that out. And this particular piece, Lily, if the things are hanging down, just kind of take them and wind them back around the foliage up there, and you can get them to stand up a little straighter. And like I said, I have a kind of hole right here. I'm not real happy with that. And so you could just add some more foliage in there. But I think what I'm going to do instead, and here's this one if you want to adjust that baggie a little bit and make it, just like I said, play with it, and if it starts falling out, don't worry about it, just put it back in there. Tell it to behave.
That's right.
Okay. And then these you can pull forward, your ivies you can pull forward, just depending on how you like it.
Right. Okay, so now I am going to let Alice go ahead and finish, and then we will come back and show you the finished product, and I know it's going to be beautiful.
Okay, I've never used these. I was going to tell you about this.
Uh-huh.
They came from a friend's yard.
Uh-huh.
Now, we've had some pretty heavy rains the last few days.
Yes.
So things are kind of beaten down. I had to kind of trim this around the edge right there.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, I just got my trusty shears back out and cut it to suit me.
Okay.
So I'm going to add a few things
Okay.
to this arrangement, Joyce, and then we'll come back and show them what it looks like.
Perfect. Okay, Alice has done her magic. Oh my goodness, look at this. And she's finishing up. What else do we like, Alice?
Okay, I wanted to show them one other little trick that I use. I was able to use these tulips that I already had. I had them from the other day. And what I do is when I do something that has a shorter stem in an arrangement, I have these wonderful little things. I just call them water picks. You can, I've just collected mine over the years, Joyce. I've just had a collection of them. But you could easily get them from a craft supply place or a floral supply place, and they've got a little rubber cap, and you just fill that part with water, put the rubber cap back on it, and then you take your stem of whatever flower you want to use, and you put it down inside so that it's in the water, and then you're just free to put it wherever you want to in the arrangement. You don't have to worry about it getting in an oasis or in anything. So again, I've got an uneven number of the tulips. I think I have 9, and I'm just going to leave that like that. And so all of these are in those little water pick things.
Wow.
And so if you need to do that, you can do that. There's some flowers from your yard that are hard to do in arrangements. Basically, camellias are not easy. And sometimes I don't really like to work with azaleas because they tend to close up too soon. But if you have a fresh flower that you want to use and it's just too short to reach into your oasis, to reach into your wet soil, just use those little things, and they're just a real cute trick. So that's the finished arrangement. The last thing I want to share with you is about the moss. Now this is just plain old moss from the park, and what I do is collect it, and then I get all the sticks and leaves out, and then I cure it in my microwave. I put it in a plastic bag and put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. And then it'll be damp, it'll be wet, it'll have sort of a little funny smell to it. Don't worry about that, it goes away. But I just spread it out outside. I usually use the hood of my car and just spread it out and let it dry. And then I always fill in with the moss in places that show. If you've got some stems that are showing, like right here, there's a little place where the plastic is showing through on the container. And so I just take a little bit of the moss and just tuck it up in there like so, and just get it so that it looks nice. If you've got some holes in the arrangement that you really want to do, you can even work the moss up in there. I don't think I need to with this one. But then, of course, it sheds a little bit, so you'll want to clean up and make it look nice. And there you have it.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I think what we added that we didn't tell you about, I did add a little bunch of these, which are some lilies that I got this morning just at the grocery store. And they were very inexpensive, and I added those right there in that spot.
Right.
But again, you can play around with that. There were 2 branches on that in that package, and I might add the other one right there. Now that I think about it, Joyce, I think I'm going to add it
I
right
know, you
there.
just can't stop. Okay, well, I'm going to turn the camera off, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to wind this up for you.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, I want you to look at this beautiful arrangement. It is so beautiful, Alice, and thank you so much for coming and working so hard to put it together.
Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. And also, I wanted to tell you that we now have over 10,000 followers on our Facebook page.
Neat.
And I wanted to ask Alice if there was one thing that you could say to all of these people out there, what would that one thing be?
Okay, well, I'll have to think about that for a minute, but I just right off the top of my head, relating to what we've done today, I would say that I love to use flowers and plants because, we can't improve on what God has done in nature. And so when I do things, I always think about how perfectly our world was created and how beautiful it is. And I hope that you'll think about that too, and I hope you have a very happy Easter.
Thank you so much. And friends, as I always say, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me in my dining room today. I hope you have a blessed Easter with you and your family, and I will talk to you again really, really soon.